The first time I met him, I thought it was just a dream. But then he started telling me things he couldn't have known. Things no one but me should have known. And now, I can't wake up. Not from him. I remember the first time it happened like it was yesterday. I had been exhausted, lying in bed, feeling the weight of the day's worries press against my chest. The kind of tired where you can't even find the strength to close your eyes. It was around 3:45 a.m. when I first saw him sitting at the edge of my bed, his outline barely visible in the dim light coming from the window. The room was too still, too quiet. I'd only slept for a few hours, and I thought I was just dreaming, maybe even still awake, drifting in that strange half-conscious state between sleep and reality. His face was obscured, but I could feel him looking at me. I could feel his eyes on my skin, crawling up my neck, making my pulse race with terror. Something about the stillness of it all felt wrong, and then he spoke. "I know your name, Sarah." I blinked, and he was gone. I sat up, heart hammering, eyes scanning the room. There was nothing, just the empty shadows of the night, the familiar glow of the moon spilling through the window. Nothing. But I knew something had been in the room with me. I couldn't explain it, but I felt it deep in my bones. And that name, Sarah. I never told anyone my full name. Not even my closest friends knew it. But somehow, this thing knew it. The following night, the dream returned. It started slowly, almost like a lullaby. At first, he would sit in the corner of my room, just watching me sleep, his silhouette blending into the shadows. His presence felt like a heavy fog, suffocating and cold. But each night, he grew bolder. He'd sit closer, sometimes even touch the sheets at the foot of my bed, or trail a cold finger across my arm. "Sarah," he would whisper, as though he had all the time in the world to say it. I'd wake up in a cold sweat, but the feeling would linger, like something was still present, still watching, still waiting. The worst part wasn't the way he looked at me, but the things he said. He knew where I worked. He knew my routine. He knew things about my childhood I'd never spoken aloud, my deepest fears, my darkest memories. It was like he was inside my head, picking through the files of my soul. One night, he leaned over my bed, his voice barely audible in the darkness. "You didn't like how your father looked at you, did you?" The way he'd smile when you were alone in his study. The words hit me like a cold slap to the face. My throat tightened, my heart quickened. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't. His presence paralyzed me. "How do you know that?" I choked out. He smiled, the expression grotesque, like it didn't quite belong on his face. "Don't worry, Sarah. I know you better than anyone. And soon, I'll be the only one who does." I tried everything to shake him. I stayed awake for days, terrified that if I slept, he'd come back. But no matter what I did, no matter how hard I fought it, he always found me. Each night, he returned. "You can't run from me, Sarah," he'd say, his voice smooth as velvet, curling around my thoughts. "You belong to me now." The man in my dreams began to invade my waking life. It started with the subtle things, a face in the crowd at work that I could have sworn looked just like him, a shadow in the corner of my eye when I walked down the street. It felt like I was being stalked, hunted, even in the light of day. I went to a doctor, thinking maybe I was losing my mind. Maybe it was some form of sleep paralysis, or an undiagnosed condition. But the doctor's tests came back normal. He told me it was just stress. But I knew the truth. I wasn't dreaming. Not really. That night, he came again. But this time, something was different. He was standing at the foot of my bed, his face no longer obscured. I could see him clearly now, a tall man, gaunt, with skin so pale it almost seemed to glow in the dark. His eyes were black, like endless bits, and his smile twisted into something unnatural, a smile that was both predatory and sadistic. "I don't just visit you in your sleep anymore," he said, his voice deeper than I remembered. "I'm everywhere now, Sarah. You can't hide from me." "Not anymore." I felt a cold shiver crawl down my spine as his fingers brushed against my cheek. He smelled like ash, like something long dead, and his touch left a trail of ice on my skin. Desperation clawed at me. I had to find a way to escape. I couldn't let him control me, couldn't let him be the master of my mind. I started researching, diving deep into dark corners of the internet, searching for answers. That's when I found the old forum, buried in forgotten archives. The users spoke of a creature, an entity that had haunted their dreams. They called it the Dream Walker. It would enter your dreams, slowly becoming more and more real, until it could pull you from the dream world into the waking one. There were no clear instructions on how to stop it, but there was a warning.
The dream walker knows your name before you even speak it. It knows your fears before you do. It felt like a joke,
But deep down, I knew it was no laughing matter. The next night, I confronted him.
I tried to speak first, to take control. What do you want from me?
I asked, my voice trembling.
The man smiled, his teeth too sharp to many. What do you think I want, Sarah?
You're not real, I whispered. None of this is real.
He stepped closer, his face now inches from mine.
His breath was cold, like the wind on a winter night.
You were always mine, Sarah. All I had to do was wait for you to believe. In that moment, I knew the truth. There was no waking up from this. There was no escaping him.
He wasn't just a dream.
He was something else.
Something that had always been there, waiting for the right time to show itself.
Time lost all meaning. Each day felt like a blur, like I was trapped in some kind of twisted loop, repeating the same horrors over and over. The man in my dreams became my reality, and I could feel myself slipping, losing my grip on what was real and what was not. And then, one night, I woke up not in my bed, but in a dark, empty place.
My skin felt clammy, and the air was thick, suffocating. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. I wasn't alone. He was standing in front of me, his face inches from mine. His eyes were pitch black, and he smiled that horrible, wide grin.
You're finally awake, Sarah, he said, his voice echoing in the stillness. But you're not really awake, are you?
I tried to move, to scream, to run, but I couldn't.
My limbs were frozen, my body locked in place. You'll never escape me, Sarah, he whispered. Not in your dreams, not in your waking life. I've always been here, always. And then, in the dark, I felt his cold hands around my throat. The last thing I heard was his voice, the voice that had haunted me for so long, whispering in my ear, I know you. I haven't woken up since. Not really.
I don't think I ever will. And the man, he's still here.
Watching, waiting, always smiling. Every night, he sits at the foot of my bed, just like before, and every night, he whispers the same thing.
I know you, Sarah.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more inspiring and chilling stories. See you in the next video, where light always wins.